Hi, Wesley here with your weekly Mesonet weather report. This was an interesting week of weather for Oklahoma. On Wednesday, the main part of the state received its first snowstorm. Preliminary totals from the Norman Forecast Center had snow totals of anywhere between 1 and 8 inches. Temperatures following the storm were some of the coldest we have seen in a while, with the majority of the state dropping down into the teens. Before this cold front, most of 2020 had the state experiencing a fairly warm winter. This chart shows the average daily temperature since the start of the year with the dark line, and the 15-year average in the blue fill. There are definitely more days above normal than below normal. This stretch of warm weather has producers with dual-purpose wheat for grazing and grain forced to make some decisions soon. Once the wheat reaches the growth stage, called the first hull of stem, cattle left on grazing it can severely impact grain production. First hull of stem is where the grain head moves from the ground level up to where there is about a half an inch of hollow stem below it. Scouting ungrazed area of the field and splitting stems with a knife is the only way to know for sure the stage of growth. Fortunately, Mesonet has a product to help predict when producers should be out scouting their dual-purpose wheat fields. It is called the First Hull of Stem Advisor, and it consists of 3 models, one for early, middle, or late maturing wheat varieties. You begin by picking your planted wheat variety, and the model counts soil heat units from late December to the current day and plots it on a map. The Wednesday map for early varieties show that the southern half of the state has exceeded the time to begin scouting. We recommend scouting when it predicts 5% first hull of stem. This is shown by any color other than blue. The red colors show when 50% first hull of stem is expected. Grazing past this point might already be impacting grain production. With middle maturing varieties, mostly the southern tier of counties have reached the time needed to begin scouting. And looking at the late varieties, the state is still mostly blue, but that could change soon. The tool has a projection feature built into it that allows you to print a map with 1 or 2 week predictions. These are based on long-term averages and not forecast. Here is the 2-week map for early varieties. You can see the majority of the state is at or nearing the red 50% projection. The projection for middle varieties has about the southern third of the state reaching the red or higher category. For late varieties, most of the state is still blue, but some red is starting to show in the bottom tier of counties. You can also use the tool to just look at a particular Mesonet site. This graph is for Watonga and early varieties. It projects reaching the 50% line about February 20th. Bottom line, this doesn't appear to be one of the years we can graze cattle on into March without expecting grain reduction. That's it for this week. See you next week on the Mesonet Weather Report.